This is the Highly Sensitive Club, episode number 52. Have you been told you are too sensitive, too dramatic, or too much? Do you have big feelings and deep thoughts you don't always know what to do with? I'm Stephanie Linn, a certified life coach and highly sensitive person. I've helped dozens of highly sensitive clients feel more energized, more confident, and more in control of their high sensitivity. In these episodes, you'll get the information and inspiration to level up your life as a highly sensitive person too. Welcome to the Highly Sensitive Club. Hello, highly sensitive person, and welcome to this week's episode of the Highly Sensitive Club. At the time this is airing, it is the holiday season 2024, and I have been thinking a lot about you in this holiday season. This is typically a time of year where most people, whether you're neurospicy or neurotypical, are busy. We have lots of celebrations, we're gathering together, we're spending time with loved ones, we're maybe shopping for gifts, if that's part of your holiday traditions. And it can feel a little bit overwhelming, like there's this fast downhill slide into the end of the year, and then suddenly it's going to be New Year and we're starting all over again with our big goals and our dreams. So I want you to treat this holiday season a little bit differently. I want to start with the mindset piece because you can have all the tactics and all of the steps in the world, but if you aren't coming from the right headspace, then it's going to be very difficult to maintain your equilibrium and maintain that balance as you're going through your holiday season. I know you, highly sensitive person. You're very empathetic, you're very compassionate to other people, and you want the holidays to go smoothly. You might be the one who sacrifices things in order to make other people feel comfortable. This might mean sacrificing some of your time or your energy or your focus or filling your schedule too much in order to make everybody else happy. I want you to consider this. If you are treating the holidays this way, like it's really for everybody else, and you're just at the whim of all of your plans and your schedules, you're probably thinking some thoughts like, I have to keep everybody happy. I just need to show up for this one thing and then everything will be fine. I just need to get through the holidays and then things will be easier in the new year. If there's any sense that you need to be resilient through a time that's supposed to be about gathering and celebration and connection, then there's probably obligations. There might even be some resentment going on because you really don't want to do the things that you're doing. You don't want to spend so much time with people. You don't want to go to all of these events. Look out for any of those thoughts that are coming up that tell you, I need to do something, I should do something. It's going to be better for everybody if I don't make waves and if I keep the peace and I just do this thing and get through it. You might be thinking, I need to just plan my time better. I just need to have a great planner. I just need to get my to-do list done. I just need to get that one last gift or find a way to fit all of these things in. This is not a good way to protect your time and energy, and those are just tactics. The key here is to remember that you are also worth protecting and taking good care of during the holiday seasons, not just other people. So I want you to try some of these thoughts instead. I am enough just as I am. People want to spend time with me. I want to spend time with others. I don't have to make this complicated. This could be super simple. How could this be fun and easy? What do I really want to do? What would feel good for me this holiday season? I'm creating a great experience for myself and for others. I protect my energy so that I can have a great time with the people that I love. These thoughts might be a lot more helpful and useful to you as you're proceeding into your holiday season because it maintains that balance. It maintains your energy and your focus and attention instead of giving it away to everybody else and then spending all of January trying to recover. Now that you have some new thoughts to play around with and to practice as you're going through these last few weeks of the year, here are 10 tactics to be able to protect your energy and your time during the holidays. Number 1, choose your social plans carefully. I love telling this story because it is the ultimate example of why highly sensitive people need to be careful with their time. About 6 or 7 years ago, when my fiance Mark and I were going to each other's families for holidays, we had 8 holiday celebrations over the week of Christmas. We had lots of friend gatherings that we wanted to go to in addition to family celebrations. There was a day, of course, in that week where we had two celebrations in the same day and we were rushing from lunch to get to dinner. We were overstuffed. Everything felt rushed and we didn't get to enjoy our time. We both decided we are never going to do 8 celebrations in a single week again. And from that point on, we decided we were going to spread out our celebrations. We would be very discerning and take turns for who actually got to see us on the holiday and who we were spending time with. We added a lot more downtime as well. I know a lot of highly sensitive people are very busy during this time as well because it brings up a lot of great memories and nostalgia for us. We like to include that in our yearly rituals. And as an adult, you can choose your social time more carefully. This means you might set a limit on how many gatherings you go to. It might make a difference to you whether they're spread out over the entire month or whether they are concentrated in a single week or in a couple of weeks. You might need to be discerning about which gatherings you go to and which you don't. If you don't want to go to every single option presented to you, it is perfectly okay to tell your loved ones that you're not going to see. Let's plan to get together in the new year. It can be a great thing to push back some of your celebrations into January so that you can continue to connect, you can have those cozy moments, and you can build those memories at a time of the year when people are typically not very happy and they're trying to just get through. This could be your opportunity to break that cycle. Number 2 is to plan your downtime carefully. You, as a highly sensitive person, need more rest and more recharge time than the average person because you're processing more information and you're taking in everybody else's emotions and figuring out how to smooth situations and problem solve way more than the average person. This means that you can continue to do all of your holiday gatherings and still do all of the things that you want to do, but you have to plan your downtime accordingly. Most of the time, I recommend to my highly sensitive clients and friends that you try to do 50% downtime to 50% activity time. This is a difficult balance for most highly sensitive people because we're busy and we have very full, rich lives. However, the holidays are particularly a time of year where the level of activity and the level of energy for everyone is so much higher. You're picking up on other people's energy in addition to ramping up your own efforts, your own focus, and your own attention, which means it is crucial for you to have downtime. In the story I shared with you about having 8 celebrations in the same week for the holidays, I have learned that having a day or two in between celebrations is a perfect amount of time for me to be able to celebrate with everyone I want to celebrate with and still feel like I can bring my full attention and bring my full awareness to each of those celebrations. In between, I can have phone calls with my loved ones, or we can text back and forth. We can send a Marco Polo and it feels like we're close even though we don't have to be in the same place. We can control our energy levels and really balance ourselves well. Number 3 is to have an escape route. This means that if you are going to a holiday function with family members or people that you don't know as well, it could be a networking event or a work gathering, plan your exit strategies. If you start to feel overwhelmed, if you're feeling like your attention or your energy are being drained too quickly, or you find that your emotions are starting to escalate and ramp up and you don't want to stay in the situation, it is perfectly okay to have your escape routes. This means you can plan scripts that you can say so that you can exit gracefully. Like, thank you so much for inviting us. This was a lovely time, and we need to go to our next event. That next event could be going home, hanging out with your pets in your jammies and watching Netflix. Perfectly okay. But you are absolutely welcome to say, thank you so much for inviting us. We had a lovely time, and we're going to head out. I have been to big holiday gatherings where it's an open house and people just come and go. You might be able to sneak out the door and no one will be the wiser because they're occupied visiting with other people. That's also perfectly okay. You might enlist someone's help to send you a quick text message or check in. Have a wingman or a wingwoman to help you get out of those uncomfortable conversations and to help you move on to the next thing. Maybe it's asking for your assistance with some kind of decorations or some kind of food item. Maybe it's telling someone, oh, I wanted to introduce you to so-and-so over here. You could be someone's wingwoman or wingman. It might even be helpful to have some code words like, I'm starting to feel a little bit uncomfortable. Are you ready to go? Could be code yellow. Or you might turn to your partner and say, I'm really ready for some of that dessert. Whatever your code words are, and you can make them silly or subtle, It's a great opportunity for you to connect with the person you're with while also knowing that you're covered and you have a backup plan if you're ready to exit a situation or exit an event. Number 4 is to know your topics of conversation ahead of time. Do you want to talk about your work or do you not want to talk about your work? Do you want to talk about your romantic relationships or do you not want to talk about your romantic relationships? Is family a topic you want to cover or not? Or do you just want to tell people about your current interests or your current hobbies? What do you feel comfortable sharing with people and what do you not feel comfortable sharing with them? In fact, you might decide, I don't really want to share that much at all, other than that I'm doing well, but I'm really curious to hear how other people are doing. I'm just going to practice listening and asking great questions. Which brings me to number 5, which is redirecting conversations. When you know your topics ahead of time and what you're comfortable discussing with others, if it starts to veer into uncomfortable, awkward, contentious territory, that's your opportunity to redirect the conversation into clearer waters. This could sound like, oh, have you tried this delicious dip? This is a tip directly from one of my passive mentors, Denise Duffield Thomas, that she calls bean dipping. Whatever the dip is, this is your opportunity to say, oh, have you tried this delicious food? Food is one of those things that tends to connect people, so it's a great redirect. You might also say something very simple like, oh, it's going great. Tell me about your family. Tell me about that thing you saw on one of the social medias. This could be something you remember from the last conversation you had with that person. It's a great way to answer their question and then to redirect it back to them. Most people love sharing about what's going on in their lives. And so if there are topics that you don't really want to cover, that's a very simple way to redirect it back to them so that you don't have to go into choppy waters. Number 6 is to stick to your routines. This is really critical during the holiday season, especially in regards to sleep, exercise, and diet. We tend to go off the rails very easily when we have temptations or that nostalgia comes up and we just want to participate with everything. A lot of people have this attitude that I need to eat light all day so that I can have this big holiday meal together with my family. Or it doesn't count because it's the holidays, so I can eat whatever I want to. Or I want to stay up and watch these holiday movies, or I have more activities I need to do. I need to make sure the cards are out in the mail, or I need to make sure this present is wrapped and under the tree. Or I need to make sure that this gathering is coordinated. There are so many temptations to get out of your normal routine, and they seem like wonderful things to do because you're excited about them. They're energizing. But in the long run, this is when you end up paying for it in January and you have trouble getting back into your routines. The more you can stick to your regular sleep schedule, to your regular movement or exercise routines, and to your typical nutrition, the better you're going to feel throughout the entire season and into the new year. Number 7 is to pick your allies. I previewed this a little bit in having an escape route, but picking your allies could mean a number of things. It could be having someone who can text you to check in about halfway through an event or after the first half hour, 5 minutes, to make sure you're okay so that you have an excuse to leave if you want to leave. That way, if you don't feel comfortable having one of those direct conversations, you have a great opportunity to still be polite and say, I'm needed elsewhere, but thank you so much for the invite. You might also go to events with family members or with friends, and you can come up with strategies together to get out of uncomfortable conversations or to redirect conversations if you notice that you or the other person are starting to escalate emotionally. Of course, our family and sometimes our colleagues or our coworkers are the ones who know how to push our buttons the most, bringing up tense topics or things where there's a lot of disagreement. It is perfectly okay for you not to engage. And if you notice that the person you have gone to the event with is starting to get their buttons pushed, you might be the one to step in and say, hey, let's go play that game together. Or let's turn on the holiday movie marathon. That way you can redirect the conversation. Same for you. If you start to have those sensations in your body, like your face is starting to heat up, you can feel your shoulders starting to inch up, your stomach starting to feel tight, all of your buttons are being pushed and your body is activated because of it. If you have someone with you who can look out for those signs with you and see when you're starting to escalate, they might be able to redirect someone else, or they might be able to pull you away and say, hey, can you help me in the kitchen with something? Or, hey, I'm not entirely sure where to find the bathroom. Can you come find it with me? Whatever you feel comfortable with, having those allies with you, whether they're distant or with you at the event, can be a crucial way to make it through the holidays. Number 8 is to process your expectations in advance. A lot of us have expectations of how things are going to go that can set us up for disappointment when things don't go according to plan. Process your expectations in advance. Think about how you want your events to go and any obstacles or challenges, particularly with people who push your buttons, so that you can go into those situations in a loving and accepting way without having to participate in arguments and disagreements. What parts of the holiday celebrations are important to you? If you had to pick one main thing per event that would be really important to you and make you feel so satisfied, what would that one thing be? Is it a great conversation with someone? Is it playing a holiday game like a gift exchange or a Secret Santa? Is it being in the ambiance? Is it trying a new food? Whatever your number one thing is, when you set that expectation for yourself in advance, you don't go into things expecting the ideal and then being met with a different reality. Number 9 is to set your boundaries ahead. This is very similar to processing your expectations, but it's a little bit more of a nuance because boundaries are really for you. They're not against anyone else. These are just limits that help you feel comfortable in certain spaces, and they're not meant to be punishments or to reprimand someone else, even if the other person might see it that way. Certain conversations might not be something you want to discuss when you're trying to connect with people and celebrate together. Boundaries include some consequences or some plans for what's going to happen if something doesn't go the way that you expect. This might mean saying to all of your loved ones in advance, hey, I just want to make sure we're all on the same page, that we're not going to talk politics and religion. We want to keep it to what's going on in everybody's lives. We want to keep it to the things that we have in common. If people are not adhering to those rules of engagement, so to speak, then we will not stay at the party, or we will have a private conversation with that person and ask them to change the topic. If someone wants to discuss a topic that everybody has agreed is off limits, then we will ask that person to leave and they may not be invited to the next event. You can make this as detailed and as firm as you want it to be. This is really about what's comfortable for you. Typically, this means it's okay if you choose to do this, but then I'm going to limit our time together because that's what feels good for me. Or I'm going to exit the situation because I don't want to participate in this, and that's perfectly okay too. Or when you set limits on your time, for instance, you might say, we are planning to come for a couple of hours, or we're going to stay for a little while to say hello. This could also be something around gift giving. Maybe you say, we would really like it if everybody brings a homemade gift, or instead of bringing gifts, we're going to be doing a potluck this time. If somebody doesn't want to participate or they don't like it, you can say, if you would like to bring those things, you're welcome to do that. But we are going to proceed with this plan that we've all agreed to. If somebody wants to be the outlier, that's perfectly okay for them to be the outlier. And you can continue to have the expectations that you have and to proceed with your plan, especially if you've created it as a group, as expected. And number 10, in order to protect your energy during the holidays, is to be present with yourself in the moment. It can be very easy to be flooded and overwhelmed with the amount of information and the amount of time and energy you're spending with other people. Notice that as it's coming up. Pay attention to yourself and your sensations, your emotions, and any thoughts that are coming up as you're interacting with people. Do you feel comfortable in the space? Do you not feel comfortable in the space? It could be even as simple as, are you warm enough in the space? Are you too warm in the space? Does it feel crowded? Is there somewhere where you can find a quiet space in order to recollect yourself and then come back? Be present with whatever is coming up, knowing that it's okay for you to feel however you're feeling, and then take care of yourself from there. That comes back to sticking to your routines, knowing how to redirect conversations and planning for that in advance, having your escape routes, or it could just be having opportunities to pause and gather yourself in a quiet space. Maybe you check in with the host ahead of time and ask, are there bedrooms that I might be able to use if I just need a quiet moment to myself? Or notice if you're starting to get overstimulated. Notice if you have some strong emotions coming up, and just be present with those things. Being present with yourself in the moment is the kindest thing you can do for yourself and for all of your loved ones. Whether that means you take a pause and come back, continue to be part of the celebration, or it means that you notice you are getting overstimulated and you're ready to leave, you can always exit the situation gracefully, and you always have a choice in how you proceed. To recap, the 10 tips to protect your energy as a highly sensitive person during the holidays are: number one, choose your social time intentionally. This means that you don't have to go to every single event, but you want to be very strategic in the events that you go to and how much time you spend with the people that you're celebrating with. Number two is to plan your downtime. You need more rest than the average person, highly sensitive person, and particularly during the holidays, make sure you've got enough rest and recharge time. Number three, have an escape route. This could be having someone text you, or it could be knowing I'm only going to stay for a certain amount of time and I know exactly when I'm going to leave. Number four is to know the topics of conversation that you feel comfortable talking about and the ones you don't feel comfortable talking about. Number five is to have your redirections for those conversations ready to go. This could be bean dipping, which is just saying, oh, hey, have you tried this dip? This appetizer sounds delicious. Or it could be something as simple as, oh, it's going great. Tell me about you. Number six is to stick to your routines during the holidays. This is very important so that you don't end up spending all of January trying to recover. Stick to your sleep schedule as much as you can, stick to your movement and exercise schedule, and try and stick to your nutrition and diet and the normal times you eat food in order to protect your energy and feel good during the entire season. Number seven is pick your allies. This could be someone distant who texts you or calls you just to check in and make sure everything's going okay, or who can be on standby for you to text. Or this could be someone that you go to an event with where you can protect each other and make sure that neither one of you is getting overstimulated. Number eight is to process your expectations in advance. Know ahead of time what obstacles or challenges might come up, and know what the main thing is that you would really like to get out of each event and each celebration so that you don't spread your energy too thin. Number nine is to set boundaries ahead of time. This means setting limits or saying, if we have conversations on the no topics list, then I'm going to exit the conversation. Or if this is what we've decided to do for the gathering, if you want to do something different, you're welcome to do that, but the rest of us will be doing this. And number 10 is to be present with yourself in the moment. Pay attention to your emotional state. Pay attention to your body. Your body might be aware of you becoming overstimulated well before your brain catches up with it. Any tension that you're starting to feel might be a good signal that you need to take a pause or that it's time to go and protect your energy. Be present with any thoughts or any emotions that are coming up, any sensations that you might be feeling, so that you can choose intentionally what you would like to do from there. Is it time to pause and stay, or is it time to exit gracefully and go take care of yourself? I hope this episode was helpful for you as you are planning your holiday season. It is perfectly okay for you to make this whatever you want it to be, even if it might be disappointing to other people or they think that you should do things a certain way. It's okay for you to do it your way. It's okay for you to be comfortable, and it is okay for you to create the holiday season that you want. Thank you so much for listening to this episode, and I will see you on the next one. Thanks for listening. If you're ready to take what you learned today to the next level, head over to StephanieLinn, that's LINN.com, and book a consultation call to get started. I can't wait to see you there, my dear HSP.